two, three.
As we celebrate World Ocean Day, it is important to remember that the ocean has an intrinsic value. That means it has a value on its own. And from the Pacific Conference of Churches, we believe this is one of the key things to understand. The ocean is life, the ocean is full of life, and that itself is something that is very valuable. From a Christian perspective, we remember that the ocean was in existence even before the rest of the world was created. The first part of Genesis, before God even created the world, we have the Spirit of God hovering over the face of the waters. And that shows that the ocean plays a central role in the environment, in the web of life, particularly for Pacific Islanders. Beyond just being a source for food and resources, it is part of our identity. And so we need to recognize the value and respect the value of life that is in the ocean. Life under the sea is one of the key SDGs. And so we need to recognize and celebrate that. What does that mean? That means that we don't only look and see what we can get out of the ocean in terms of fishing, in terms of seabed mining, but we also recognize that the ocean itself is life, and its role in sustaining the temperatures on our planet, its role in sustaining life on the planet, and pay attention to our need to care for the ocean and ensure that the ocean is healthy. In the context of climate change, we see this very clearly in terms of ocean acidification, in terms of the warming of the ocean, in terms of the shift in ocean currents. We see also at the same time moves to commodify the ocean. We talk about, or we hear the talk of a blue economy. And so we need to urge caution. And we recall that in 2017, at the inaugural Oceans Conference in New York, the precautionary principle was recognized. We also recognized that at the Pacific Island Leaders Forum last year in Tuvalu, when civil society, our community organizations, met with the leaders of our Pacific Islands, there was talk about a moratorium on deep sea mining. And so these are things that we continue to urge, and to remember that we need to talk about these things. But from something like as broad as that, looking at the ocean as a resource, or the commodification of the ocean, to the simple things that we need to recognize, the value of the creatures that live in the ocean. We still have the issue of the killing of sharks, for example, for shark fin. We still have overfishing, illegal fishing in our within our reefs and outside in our within our exclusive economic zone. And so we need to pay attention to that, because we need to go beyond just looking at the ocean as what it gives us. We need to recognize that the ocean plays an important role in what we call the ecosystem. And so if we are not respecting that, we are not respecting the planet that we are living on. One of the things that's very important at this time, as we celebrate World Ocean Day in the context of COVID-19, is also to recognize that as our people in the Pacific continue to hunt for food and to survive in the context of the unemployment that is happening as a result of lockdowns and national boundaries being closed and people losing jobs, as they turn to the ocean as a source of food, they need to do so in a way that respects the ocean. And in this case, our indigenous knowledge and wisdom, our cultural practices of how we are taught and raised to respect the ocean, to only take what fish we need, to recognize, for example, at this time as we celebrate World Ocean Day, that even though we are looking for food, that there are certain species like the kawakawa and donu that need to be protected because they are spawning. How do we treat our creatures in the ocean? So as we celebrate World Ocean Day, these are things that we would like to share with you from the Pacific Conference of Churches, also within the context of our relationship with the ocean. I'm not sure if you can see behind me, but the flagship vessel, the Utunialo, which is a symbol of sustainable sea transport, which has traveled more than twice round the world, or the equivalent of twice round the world, and is one of 7 other canoes in the region that promote sustainable sea transport. How are we returning to recognize the role of our indigenous knowledge in supporting us at this time? So our care for creation, our need to pay attention to not exploiting the ocean, to recognizing its intrinsic value, our attempts at reviving traditional voyaging. And one of the key things that continues to be a problem today is the way we dispose of our rubbish, our plastic that goes into the ocean. We all like to show pictures of our beautiful Fiji, our beautiful Pacific Islands. It's associated with pristine beaches. But the reality within the areas that we live, if you go down to the seashore in many places, is that you will find plastic bottles, plastic bags, diapers, and all these things, which then go into the ocean and choke our ocean life, our marine life. So what is your contribution? In 2017, when we gathered with stand-up paddlers, outrigger canoe paddlers, sailors, and others, we gathered on the seashore, we collected rubbish, and the Archbishop Emeritus of the Diocese of Polynesia, Archbishop Winston Halapua, reminded us that each time we collect the rubbish that has made its way down to the seashore, we are doing an act of redemption. It is a confession of the way that we have treated our planet, and it is a commitment that we are going to clean up our planet. So as part of World Ocean Day, we would also like to renew the call for a complete plastic ban in Fiji and across the Pacific Islands. We already have countries like Vanuatu that are leading the way in this, and we need to also catch up. So these are some of the things that we would like to share as we wish you all a happy World Ocean Day, and invite you that this day or this week, if it's possible, make your way down to the ocean and have a look at the life that is supporting us.